welcome back to another edition of Research Fantasy presents our MLB DFS hitter picks for Wednesday, May 31st, 2017. We've gone over our favorite pitching options in the previous video, so let's take a look at some of our favorite hitting options to go along with it tonight. Pretty solid slate all around. I like some plays in a variety of levels here. Let's start things off with Jorge Bonaficio, 7,200 on Fantasy Draft, 2,800 FanDuel, 3,600 on DraftKings. He's a guy I like using, has some power pop in his bat, typically goes really under-owned, one of the very few bright spots on this Royals team thus far. Against right-handed bats, Matt Boyd has allowed a 389 WOBA, 30% fly ball rate, and 43.4% hard contact. We know Bonaficio can mash. I don't know if he's really that great outside of that, because the Royals just aren't. There's no opportunities there for him. He's doing a lot of his damage with no one on base. But at that price, I'll definitely take a flyer on him in tournaments and hope that he can knock one out of the yard or otherwise have a good game. I do think I focus too much on the home run because it's a one-stroke deal to get you such a large amount of points, but it can be made up with if a player is able to have a good game. This is a tournament video, and this is an excellent tournament option here. Let's go Joey Gallo, 8,400 Fantasy Draft, 2,800 FanDuel, 4,400 DraftKings. First thing that pops out to me is the price on FanDuel is just way too low. I get that he's taking on Chris Archer, but this is not a favorable situation for Archer moving from the confines of a reasonably friendly pitching park in Tampa Bay to go to Texas that's just not suited for pitching. Archer has been awesome, double-digit strikeouts in like 4 out of the last 5 games. That's great. But he's given up 50% hard contact to lefties, has somehow managed to get a lot of his games in his home park, so his splits do look a little more beneficial than normal. I think 2 out of the 3 games maybe he's pitched on the road, he has not done nearly as well, coming in that 20-30 fantasy point range. For the same reason that I'll look at a guy like Ryan Schimpf when he's taken on a guy like Max Scherzer, I think even in the situation that Archer does pitch a very good game, someone is likely to get a hold of him and take one deep. Joey Gallo is a guy I definitely see being able to do that. Can't seem to speak this morning again. I am up a half an hour earlier though, so that could be it. Anyway, I think one of my favorite plays tonight is going to be Manny Machado, 7,800 Fantasy Draft, 3,600 FanDuel, 4K DraftKings. I don't know where his ownership was at yesterday because I didn't have any of it, but I did see a BVP stat on him being thrown around against Severino. This, folks, is why you don't trust 12 at-bat BVP data. Can you trust Evan Longoria against CC Sabathia? Yes, because they are both extremely old in terms of baseball, and they've got a lot of history against each other, but 12 at-bats is not something, especially with a young pitcher. Why would you trust a guy who's still developing his skill set? Why would you trust 12 at-bats? Anyway, I don't want to go into that. I'm not trying to start an argument, though I don't really care at the same time. I'm pretty fair at arguing and debate and all that. So if you take contention to what I said, one of us has to be wrong, and I'm sorry that it has to be you. But taking on Masahiro Tanaka tonight, I could see Machado. I could see this number one being a letdown spot for Tanaka. He's coming off the best game of his career, 13 strikeouts against the Oakland Athletics, who struck out something like 20 times in that game, which is just pathetic. Right-handed hitting has given him trouble on the year. 403 WOBA, 38% fly ball rate, 35% hard contact. Machado, not yet the player we want him to be this year, but he's going to come through eventually. This is one of those spots where I think, especially after he disappointed, and like I said, I could be wrong. Maybe too many people weren't on him. It was a big slate yesterday. I do feel like he's one of those guys, though, that does see a good amount of ownership unless he's facing a Kershaw or something. But maybe some people might be off of him feeling burned tonight. Always a silly thing to do in daily fantasy. I'm willing to stake Machado tonight. I think he'll have a nice game. That'll wrap it up, our top 3 tournament bats tonight. Jorge Bonaficio, Joey Gallo, Manny Machado. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel below. Head over to researchfantasy.com. Check out all of the content we're putting out. I'm going to be pumping out a ton of content over the next couple of months here. Head over to Facebook. Like us at Research Fantasy. Follow us on Twitter at Research and Win. And join us again tomorrow.